there, avid listeners. Thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a great day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim. Okay, so this is a book where I was just like, yes. I got the second book as an ARC, and yes, I did just request it based on the cover. And then I found out it's a book 2, and I'm like, oh, I have to read the first book. First book, Scavenge the Stars. Little did I know, it's a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. I think that's amazing. I haven't read a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. I don't think I've read the original, and I've seen the movie adaptation, and I've seen the anime adaptation, which is closer to the book than the movie is. Not to say I don't like the movie. I actually do love the movie. But I really haven't seen a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. So already I was captivated because this is something new for me. Something that I thought was invigorating. And not only that, it's a gender-bent retelling as well, because it follows Amaya, and she would be the count, and she turns into the countess, right? And I thought that was really good. And I love how the story is told. It goes back and forth between two perspectives. It goes between Amaya and Kaio. Now, at first you think the stories are actually working in line with one another, but that's actually not true. It works a lot like the Witcher TV show on Netflix, where Amaya's perspective, a lot of what happens in like the first, until she becomes the countess, it happens before the events of Kaio's story. So Kaio is all taking place in the present, and then Amaya's is the past and then the present. So I thought that was very intriguing. It just works really well for the story to go back and forth between these perspectives and also give insight into Amaya's story, because you don't really, when you're reading it, you kind of forget that it's a retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. And then as you're reading it, and then she's the countess, you're like, oh, this is totally The Count of Monte Cristo. And it really is a really strong retelling. There's a lot going on, and I think it makes for a very compelling read. I think it is really thoughtful. I think it is structurally sound. I do like how Sim decided to tell her own story and decided to become the countess. And it was just, honestly, I thought it was a really good story. I really did. I was very captivated by it, and I was blown away when I was just like, oh yeah, this is totally The Count of Monte Cristo. It really is unique in that respect, because I personally have not read a Count of Monte Cristo retelling. This is the first time I have. So for me, that's already a plus for this book, because it's already something unique. Yeah, you have revenge stories like Revenge, the TV show. I totally watched that show, of course. But to read a young adult novel adaptation of a classic, I think it's really cleverly done. And it was written really well. I can't stress that enough, how structurally sound it is written. You know, going back and forth, you're building up the history of the characters, you're building up a lot of intrigue. And I do also like how Kaio is bisexual in nature. I do like the LGBTQ representation in this novel as well. I do like how he is bisexual, and I like the mystery, because there's a lot going on in the story outside of her revenge plot. There are lots of elements at play than just your basic revenge plot, and Amaya soon discovers that there are lots of lies in her own life, both her past life and her present life. A lot of injustices that she has encountered. and that they're finally just coming to revelation show, it really does influence her as a character, and you really do get to see it influence her as a character. You get to see how she changes and how she grows throughout the narrative, how she starts out as Amaya and how she turns into the Countess, and how she really is Amaya once again, but with this whole new perspective. She has to regain a lot, and she has to lose a lot within herself. And you really do get to see this pull, this dark shadow that revenge kind of leaves on people. It takes a toll on a person's being, I think. And I think that's what Tara Sim is highlighting. Revenge is, great and all, but it's going to take a toll on who you are as a person. And I think that that's really well done. I like how Sim tells the story. I like how she really does include that human element to make the characters relatable, to make them engaging. And I do think Amaya and Kaio, I think they work really well together as characters. You get to see this budding friendship. You get to see this budding relationship blossom between them. And I think it's really great how Tara Sim really did develop her characters. Amaya is really guided by her anger and fear and her curiosity, and she is unpredictable. She's very rash, and there are times where you want to smack her. You just want to smack some sense into her. Be like, will you open your eyes? But the way she treats others, she's very kind, she's very compassionate, she's very thoughtful, and I think that lends a lot to making her shine and to making her relatable to the reader. Because she has a lot of depth. She has a lot of layers to her personality. And I really do like how her backstory and how Kaio's backstory, they do play off of each other. Because they're very different, but they've both gone through a lot in their short lives. So I really do think it's a good story. I really, like I said, written really well. Characterization is done very well. And you know what? It's unique. In my perspective, it is unique. I have not read a Count of Monte Cristo retelling. I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't come across them. And this is the first one I have, so that's already like a win for me. So this was Scavenge the Stars. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars. For all the reasons I said before, it didn't quite blow me away, but it does have good storytelling. It does have a compelling plot. It does have compelling characters, and I like how it is a gender-bent retelling. I really do like the intricacies of the plot itself that go beyond just it being a revenge story. It's so much more than that. There's so many things at play here that unveil themselves very slowly to the reader, and I like how it lends itself to building up tension and making the story unpredictable for the reader. So if you want to go ahead and purchase the book, I recommend purchasing it off of bookshop.org. Percentage of all proceeds do go to supporting local booksellers. If you want to read it, but money's tight, please check it out from your local library. Libraries are a great resource for the community. Definitely deserve community support, and I hope you will continue to support me by liking this podcast and sharing it with all your book loving friends. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.